Hello, we're here with Greatness Magazine interviewing Miss Queen Goddess. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So, Queen Goddess, we just have a few questions. Inquiring minds want to know more about you and your work and all of your genius and beauty, so we'll just start right in. The first question I want to ask you is about your name. You have a really unique name and it's very powerful and fully representative of who you are. And I was just curious how you came to that name or how that name came to be for you.
Well, where I'm from, everybody's kind of named Queen or King or Prince or Princess or something like that. And it's just kind of comes to my attention that it's not normal, in my family, we are proudly part, obviously, African and Cherokee. And there are renaming ceremony traditions in those cultures that my family, my parents actually decide to actively participate in.
Nice.
When they were raising us, I have 3 siblings. And including my parents, they would go through like a sort of a rite of passage or a transition period in their life where they would assume a name that was and then for us, my siblings and I, we would have rite of passage ceremonies when we were coming of age. And during that ceremony, a name would either be revealed or we would basically earn a name that we could choose to use. Or just kind of have as a self-reflective reminder,
Nice.
And so Queen Godis was the name that I earned and received, and for us it means Queen of myself. That's what I say, Queen of myself.
Nice.
And the presence of the Most High, the omnipotence, the omnipresence, is as a surname. It doesn't matter who, what, when, where, why, or how much God still is the isness of this great being that connects us all in terms of my belief system.
Nice.
So it's a reminder. So whenever someone calls my name, says my name, changes my name, rhymes my name, it's a statement, it's an affirmation, and a reminder of this greater presence no matter what's going on in my life.
Nice. You have a large body of work that is a series of one-woman shows, and the shows have been put up in theaters from here in the United States all the way over to the UK and India and all over the place. So how did you get involved with the theatrical work?
I grew up around theater. I make a joke and say that was my father's version of babysitting us. He came out of college in the 70s and he decided to help start a theater in Queens. And he was acting, but he also became a director.
Nice.
So when he was working on his shows, I would be sitting in the audience watching him do his work. And the beautiful thing is I got to see someone who was my father be this great thing in the theater space, and just kind of come alive in a whole way. And that always just kind of sunk in with me. It was something that I admired, I love. I really appreciate how people could just kind of take on new worlds and become grander than their physical self. And so that's how it started for me. The most recent work that I've done was inspired by my album,
Nice.
because I feel like there's so much you can do in the studio behind the mic. And the album has a strong meta-narrative that just can't be compacted into how many? 16 tracks.
Yeah.
And so I needed to find a way to kind of give it a 3D experience. And for me, that was making a series of vignettes and putting them on the stage, each of them inspired by some theme on the album. And I was blessed with the opportunity to have some people see my work and want to work with me to develop these pieces.
Nice.
So I've got some studio resident fellowships to workshop these pieces, and I had some really great directors and choreographers to work with. And I got a chance to travel and perform and also study performance in different countries and have that influence the work that I was working on.
That's dope. And it's a dope show. And are you going to put it up again?
I actually am going to put it up again. One of the things that I got opportunity to do is to travel with the Hip Hop Theater Festival on tour.
Nice.
They have different spot dates at different colleges along the East Coast. And they're shorts, so they invite artists who have new work to perform 20 to 30 minutes of their pieces. And so the most recent, well actually I should say the one that's coming up next is going to be in Massachusetts. So I'm going to actually perform the one that you got a chance to see,
Cool.
which is untitled still, and it'll still be a workshop to perform that soon.
Nice. So you've done work and coached the Urban Word Youth Team for the National Youth Poetry Slam, and some of that process is on HBO Brave New Voices show, but I was curious to know what has been the greatest reward reward and the greatest challenge for working with the youth?
I was blessed the opportunity to work with some really strong and talented and genius young people.
Yeah.
Complete with attitude as well. But I got an opportunity to walk with them, something that was not necessarily offered to me outside of my parents, who've always been extremely, supportive and stuff like that. But to balance out craft with social, cultural, political responsibility, in the way that I coach is very holistic. So it's almost like life coaching, life skills coaching.
Nice.
And so some of the challenges have been, sometimes people say that I was a little too tough or whatever. I don't think a lot of people are used to being coached by a woman, and a woman who knows her stuff and who's focused and fierce in the way that she executes what she has to do.
Right.
I don't have anybody's children, but I really have a strong motherhood instinct by working this way. And I don't play because I just feel like there's so many things in the world, especially for young black people and artists, that try to shake you up. So more balance is really important, whether it's for fun or for work, is important to me. So sometimes some of the resistance from me at times was challenging. Or was seeing how far they can stretch at the end and how much more magnificent they are by being afforded an opportunity like that.
Nice. You mentioned earlier in the conversation the Power You album, and it was your debut album, came out in 06, and then you re-released it by popular demand for download in 09.
And you got sold out.
It's a dope album, really lovely experience to kind of journey through with you on the album. So the question I have is there a sophomore album in the works, and if so, could you tell us more about the project?
What I can tell you is, for me, I think it's definitely going to be fun.
Cool.
It's going to be a lot about different sides of relationship, a lot about love, and just more of what I do best, which is a combination of everything.
Nice.
I'm an MC at heart, and I do spoken word and I sing, and I think there's going to be more MCing and more singing coming out as well. But all the way that I write is very poetic, so there's going to be just strong poetry throughout it.
Right.
Right now, we're just kind of going through the process of weeding out music that will complement the idea.
So what's the next big move for you?
The next big move for me, maybe it's a move, or literally it's a move.
Uh-oh.
I'm a Brooklyn woman. Being born and raised in Brooklyn has been, I think, a terrific thing just for the journey that I've had.
Right.
It's given me a strong foundation. People from Brooklyn generally have this toughness, but it's a humorous toughness because there's just a lot of I don't know, Brooklyn is a funny place. I think it prepares you for the world. You can go anywhere in the world, and of course everybody says there's always a Brooklyn or somebody who's heard of Brooklyn.
Yeah, right.
And for me, it just has made me worldly for some reason. And coming back here and living here after school and my education, you find a lot of people from all over the world.
Nice.
But I think that in some ways, about growing or really feeling inspired to stretch beyond.
Well, thank you very much. This is Greatness Magazine again with Queen Goddess. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to talking with you again soon.